This video is a battle between Divi 5 and SiteKrafter. We want to see which one is easier to use to design professional looking websites super fast. So here's what we're trying to build today. So here is a basic website and it is fully responsive. You can see here our text is fluid. So the text reduces in size as you make the screen size smaller, and also if you look at all the margins of all the sections, everything pretty much works great. So we want to redesign this using SiteKrafter and also using Divi 5 and see which one is better. So over here I have Divi 5, the basic without SiteKrafter, and then over here we have SiteKrafter. Now, for those of you who are wondering what is SiteKrafter, it's a Divi framework that allows you to build scalable, consistent, and maintainable websites. All right, let's dive in. So over here, I'm going to start this whole process using our normal Divi. So I'm going to go in and click on Edit with Divi. So the first thing I'm going to do is to add my two columns. So on the left here we have a bunch of text, so I'm going to go ahead and select that and duplicate this twice. In fact, it's 3 times. Okay, now we're going to need a bit of text, so I'm going to copy it here and paste it. Now already I can see that there is quite a bit of work that needs to be done here, because this is my main heading, and then over here is just that small text that I have as my description. Okay. And then this is our paragraph text, and then we also need a button. Let's go ahead and select it. Okay, great. So far so good. Next, I'm going to come over here and we're going to add an image. I'm going to search for it. Now I know I have an image that I need to upload. So let's head over to my downloads and just choose any image. So the one I'm going to go with is, let's try this one here. Nope. Okay, I think it's this one that I used. Okay, great. So now that I have my image, let me just remove me out of my way here. Okay, now I'm going to click on Upload Image, and now my image has been uploaded. Okay, great. So now that we have this, I may want to reduce the gutter width here. So I'm going to come over here to my row, and then I'm going to go into design, sizing, and then I'm just going to reduce this to 2. Okay, so far so good. Now I need to add my heading. So I'm going to come over here and set my heading. So this text here needs to be heading 3. Okay. So pretty much we are getting there. So what I need to do now is to start designing this to make it look really nice. So I'm going to start with my paragraph text here. So this is the normal design workflow for a beginner, or if you want to start designing your website. So now that I have my text here selected, I'm going to now go into design, text. So we need to start entering our sizes. So normally 16 pixels is what we'd use for our body text size. Okay, now let's go to the tablet view and let's see what it looks like. Okay, I guess that looks okay. Okay, so it looks fine on all devices. Let's go to our heading now. So for this is going to be our heading text. We've set it to heading 3. So now we're going to increase the size. So usually when people design, they pretty much take a look at it and see if that's working okay. And then I'm going to increase my line height here to 1.2. Now I want you to notice how many times I'm clicking here to make things really work. So the next step is probably make this bold. Okay, great. Now the next step is to make sure that the size is great on mobile devices. Okay, so 30, so let's try 32. Okay, because I want it slightly bigger, that's fine. And let's go on the phone. Okay, that's slightly too big. So let's go with 28. Okay, I think 28 works for my mobile view. All right, so far so good. Now I have this text here I need to work on. So let's go ahead and select it. But we want to do this while we're on the desktop first. So let's go ahead and set the size here, text, and we're going to set this to 4. Okay, let's go with 15. How about that? And then we're going to make it bold. Right, now let's check and see if everything is looking great. All right, I think that works. Okay, so the spacing here doesn't look really nice. So I would need to go in individually now and set my spacing. So I've got my button here. So let's go to design, spacing, and I'm going to say margin top. Let's go with 20 pixels. Okay, that's fine. Now this one here is a bit too much. So we're going to go in and set this to margin top as well. And this is going to be, okay, let's try 20 again. Okay, so that looks like it's a bit too much. Let's try 0. Okay, so let's do this one here. We go to design, spacing. So this time let's try margin bottom 0. So you see now, I think with margin bottom 0, that's how I get it to come a bit closer to the bottom. And then over here on the top, we're going to do the same. We're going to go with spacing and margin bottom. Okay, so this one here is working. So I'm going to set this to about 10. Okay, so far so good. Now, we also need to set our sizes for this container here. So let's go with design, and then we're going to go to spacing. So padding top, we're going to do 100 pixels, and then we're going to do the same for the bottom there. So now we have beautiful breathing space on our design. All right, so now that we have this, we need to now check and see if everything is looking great on mobile devices. So straight away, I can see on my tablet here, this is way too big. You can see my padding here needs to be reduced. So let's try 60 pixels. Okay, I think 60 top and bottom is good. And then for the mobile here, it's a bit too much as well. So I think we're going to bring it down 40. Okay, I think that's great. All right, so I guess this is our first section design. Now for our next section, let's just have it ready before I start designing. So we're going to go for regular, single column. And in here, we're going to add a text module like that. And we're going to set this to heading 3. Okay, so let's just go in and give this a background color as well so that we can distinguish this with everything else on our site. Okay, great. So far we've managed to design this. I've saved it. Now let's go to our design here and see if it's anywhere close. Okay, not too far off, I guess. But now I want you to notice how I'm going to be designing this throughout, because so far I've spent close to about, let's say, 7 minutes, right? So let's start designing this. I'm going to go in and edit with Divi. And the first thing I'm going to do is to add my columns. And then in here, we're going to add our text modules. So just like before, I'm going to do 3. So I know the middle one here needs to be my header. So we're going to go in, change all the text. We're going to set this to heading 3, I think. Great. And then over here, this is our normal text. Okay, so now that we have all our text, we have one more thing that we need to do here, and that is to enter our short text like that. And then finally, we need our button here. I'm going to select it, and then over here we need our image. I'm going to select it. Okay, and now we're going to go to our media library, select our image, and here we go. All right, now, do you see how fast that was? Now, this step I'm going to show you next is a game changer. Now, watch this. I'm going to select my text here, come over here to Advanced, Classes, and then I'm just going to say SK. That's all I need to do. We're going to come over here to this text here, same thing, Advanced, Custom CSS and Classes, SK. Okay, next we're going to come over here to our button, and for our spacing, all I need to do is to say margin top, and then I'm going to say small, and then I'm also going to say margin bottom, and I'm also going to say small. Okay, now for my text here, the small text, I'm going to come over here to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes. So with this one here, I've forgotten the class that I need to add here. So the trick that I have up my sleeve is the framework here. So I'm going to go to my general fluid text, and text small is what I need. Okay, great. Text small is what I need. So I'm going to select that and then type in text dash small. And you can see there it's gone slightly bigger. And then I'm going to say bold. Now you can see there it's updated, and now it is bold. Next, we had an issue with, we did quite a lot of customizations to our section. So this time around, I can just select my section, and then for this one here, it's going to be hero section, hero dash section. And now you can see I have responsive padding, which is fantastic. All right, so now that I have this, I'm pretty much done, and you can see I haven't even gone 3 minutes into this, and I've pretty much got my design the way I want it. Finally, I'm just going to come over here to my row settings and then just set my sizing here to 2 for my gutter width. Okay, so that's looking great. I'm going to save. Now I'm going to, in fact, let's close this one here because this is my example. I'm going to close that. I don't need it anymore. And then we're going to do a quick preview of what I'm designing right now, and that's how it looks. And now you can see my text here is fluid. As I'm just making my screen bigger and smaller, it is fluid. Now let's compare with what we were designing over here. Again, we're going to do preview, and for this one now, look at that. It's going to jump. You can see now that this is totally different. Okay, it's not fluid as what I have on Divi 5. Okay, now let's continue on because we want to now go in and design the second section, and I'll also tell you the advantages of using SiteKrafter. Okay, so over here we've already gone in and added our text. Now let's add another row. So in this row we want to add a blurb. So I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. So I can see here my text for my blurb is a bit too much. I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to add, let me just get myself out of the way here. I'm also going to add an icon. Oops. We need an icon for this, not an image. All right, so we're just going to add, let's go with this icon here. Now with that icon selected, we want to make it a bit smaller. So we're going to come over here to image and icon, drag this down a little bit to, let's say 52. And then we need to center this. So we are going to make sure we collapse this. We go to our text, center that, and now it's centered. The next thing we're going to do is to do a bit of a design to this. So let me just take myself out of the way here. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is to first of all add a background, and it's going to be white. Next, we're going to come over here to our design, and then we're going to go to, what do we need to do here? We need to go into spacing, and in the padding here, we're going to set this to 20. and all sides. Okay, so now that we have this, pretty much we are close. We need to go in now and make sure our title text here is set to bold. I'm going to come over here, bold. Okay, so I guess we are okay. Let's go ahead now and go to tablet and see what it looks like. Okay, and right, I think this one here is an easy one. That looks great. So all I have to do now is to go into my row settings, and then we're going to duplicate this 3 times. Okay, but you can see now that as soon as I've done that, we need to adjust our sizing here. So let's go in and first of all, go into our rows, sizing, and then we're going to reduce our gutter width here. Okay, so I can see now that we need to go in and adjust our settings here. So we're going to go to spacing, and maybe this could be 30. Top and bottom, and then 30 left and right. Okay, so let's see if we can copy styles here. Yes, we can. We're going to paste it and paste it here. Okay, great. Now all we need to do is to come over to our text here, center it, make sure this is set to heading 3, and we are going to make it bold. All right, fantastic. So now let's save it. We are now going to do the same on this time with SiteKrafter. Now I want you to notice how fast this design is going to be. So we're going to start with a new section here, regular, single column, and we're going to add some heading text. And in here, we're going to change our color. And notice that because the framework comes with my shades here, I don't have to go in and select the color manually. And now I just need to go in and center my heading text, just like that. All right, now this is the fun part. I'm going to go in, single column. So we added a blurb before, remember? I'm going to go in and set it. Let's remove some of this text here, like that. And we need to add an icon. So we're going to come over here and let's say this is our icon. And then we need to set the size. And just like before, it was about 50 something, wasn't it? Okay, 52. Okay, so the next step now is to just make sure that everything is all centered. So we're going to come over here to our text, center everything. And now we need to add our background color. So we're going to come over here, set our white. Now, here's where the fun begins. Instead of me going in and adding all my padding and so on, all I have to do is to come over here to advanced, CSS ID and classes. And I'm going to say padding dash small. Okay, so my padding has been applied pretty much around my design. Now, what I may also want to do here is to add a shadow. So I'm going to say shadow dash medium, and boom, I've got my shadow. And then I can also add my rounded corners. So I'm going to say radius, radius medium. Okay, that's looking great. Now, instead of me duplicating this and adding all my columns that way, I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use a quick shortcut in SiteKrafter, which is by clicking over here on my row settings and then on my columns. And then over here, I'm just going to go in and type flexbox. Look at that. So everything now is all set for me. And all I need to do is to perhaps maybe increase the size of my padding around here. So I'm going to go in, or in fact I can just leave it as it is. Maybe the icon size is what needs to be made a bit smaller, but as you can see, this is looking great. Right, so finally I'm going to come over here, go to advanced, and I need to set my sections. So this is going to be large dash section. Okay, so everything now is looking well spaced and not too bad at all. Let's go ahead and save. And if we do a quick preview, this is what it looks like. And again, this is fluid and responsive, just by adding that command flexbox. Okay, so you may be thinking, well, why would I spend so much money purchasing SiteKrafter, and yet we are achieving a similar thing with just a normal Divi? Well, first of all, if you're paying attention, I'm sure you noticed that as I was designing, it was much easier for me to go in and enter my CSS code on my advanced tab. Now, let's say you come in later on, this is maybe about a month, and you want to go in and make some adjustments. This is where the challenge comes. So with this site, the client could say, hey, you know what? Over here, things are not looking good. The spacing is not right. You need to change that. I can just go in and target my blurb like that. And then for my class, so here my padding is small, right? So we can say large or medium. Okay, do you see that they all became much bigger? I can even go large. You can see that. So that is what I need to copy and add. So let's go medium. I think this is better. Okay, so I just need to make my changes here. Now, if I had to go in and make adjustments to every single module, that will take me a very, very long time. Now, the other thing as well is with our text, the text over here, you have to go in and make the changes at each and every instance. Okay, for example, this is my text here. If I go to design heading text, I would need to remember that, oh, my line height is 1.2 and my H3 is 30. Now, are you going to remember that later on in your design, your H3 is actually 30? Now, you'll need to write these numbers somewhere, and this is where things will really, really slow you down. So if you're using a framework or a design system, it just makes the whole process of designing much, much easier. I mean, you saw with the paragraph text, I mean, you would need to go in and set your sizes, 16 pixels, 18 pixels, and so on. With SiteKrafter, you just add SK for SiteKrafter. That just takes care of all the text. You don't need to go into your different tab views, the tablets, and also the phone if you wanted to make any changes in your design workflow. All you do is you design everything in one view and everything else is well taken care of. Anyway, I hope you can see the value of using a framework versus just designing the website from scratch. And also one thing I forgot to mention, the framework can be installed on any website before you start designing it. Whereas if you were designing this, one by one, all your websites are not going to be consistent, and it's going to be very difficult for you to scale them and also to maintain them. So that's the main advantage of using SiteKrafter. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.